Hello everyone and welcome to a Readathon wrap-up. This particular Readathon took place in January from the 12th, so Friday the 12th through Sunday the 14th. So this was a very, very quick, very short Readathon. What's the... I'm trying to remember the title of it. This Readathon was basically for members of the creator Lexi on Alexandra Rosalind for her Patreon, and it was... Why is this not pulling up? Why do I have just a white screen? There it goes. It was just basically Readathon, but there was a bingo board. So I do have the bingo board here. Total of 9 prompts, obviously, over 3 days. So the 12th, 13th, and 14th, it's highly unlikely. Now my understanding is that you could double up. I don't like doing that. I like to read one book per stinking prompt. I complicate things. I like to complicate things. I like to torture myself. So let's go ahead and get into what the prompts were, if I completed the prompt. I will tell you right now, the only prompts I completed, reading prompts I completed, were the first 3 prompts. So it was a 3x3, so a total of 9 prompts. So I have a horizontal 1 bingo there, and all the other prompts I did not complete. Well, there is one prompt I completed that was not a reading prompt. So I've completed 4 prompts. So prompt number 1 is to read a short book. So for this one, I read a middle grade, and I read All the Lovely Bad Ones by Mary Downing Hahn. I finally got to this book. This is a middle grade horror paranormal. It does get a little creepy at times. There are definitely ghosts. You have ghosts that are trying to find rest, and then you have a ghost that is trying to disrupt stuff and make it so these other people can't find rest. So you have this brother and sister who are these pranksters. They cause a lot of mischievousness, whatever. So they like to play pranks. They usually go to a summer camp for the summer, but they were banned from the summer camp because of all the pranks that they played. So they have to spend the summer with their grandma, and she owns this inn. And this inn is supposedly haunted. There have not been hauntings for a while. So they decide to try and help drum up some more business for their grandma, because people that wanted to experience paranormal activity would book a room at this inn, and now they're not because there's no paranormal activity. They decide to act like there is paranormal activity and create this hoo-ha. Well, it does stir up actual paranormal activity. And people are not happy with this. And so obviously business drums up and stuff like that. So, and now they're realizing the consequence of these actions of stirring up this paranormal activity. So yeah, I ended up giving this one 4 stars, and it was 182 pages. There are 3 things that I highlighted or underlined. Trouble finds folks who look for it. Now, trouble finds folks who don't always look for it, but if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find trouble. Anyway, the dead have their place, and the living theirs. It's dangerous to cross the line that separates them from us. For my mind immediately goes to like Ouija boards. Don't mess with them. That's just my preference. No, leave those alone. The last thing I have underlined is if. Okay, so is if the man shook his head. So he's saying something. Why am I doing anyway. If such a little word to make such a big difference. Anyway, so yeah. Okay, so that's what I got, 182 pages. Prompt number 2 was a backlist title. For this one, I read His Hostage by Willow Winters. This is the discreet version. It only has the couple's name on the front, nothing on the back. The synopsis is on the inside. So the synopsis is here along with the actual title. So the couple's name are Vince and Ellie. This is an adult erotic romance. Very, very smutty. Yes, so please be aware of that. Definitely need to be 18 or older for this. And this is a very dark, it is a dark romance, so there's a lot of triggers for this. His hostage, you can tell there is a hostage situation from this. There's also someone being roofied or drugged and things like that. So BDSM is a tag, and yes, you do have bondage in this. And it is a mafia romance. So please do be aware of this. So basically Elle sees something she shouldn't. She has to be taken hostage by Vince, who's in the mafia. And it's a romance that just goes from there. Now I can see this causing a discussion about, is it Stockholm Syndrome that Elle is experiencing versus is it actual romance and love that she has? So I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I had a great time with this one. It was fun. Again, this is by Willow Winters, and this edition was 233 pages. Prompt number 3 was to read the book club book. Yes, Lexi does have on her Patreon, which is Foxenwood, she has a book club. There are 2 book clubs. One, my understanding, when she did some sprints recently, is I think it's going to be seasonal. I could be wrong on that for one of them. And this other one is going to be monthly. And the monthly pick for January was Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This was my first book by T. Kingfisher. I will be picking up other works. I gave this one 4 stars. So this one we're following Mara. She is a princess. She is royalty. Her eldest sister gets married off, and it's a kind of a political agreement. And then her second sister gets married off, and you see a lot of domestic abuse happen in this. And Mara wants to do what she can to help her sister that is experiencing this domestic abuse. So Mara goes on an adventure. She finds this person that can communicate with the dead, so basically a necromancer. I think she's called a death witch, something like that. And they go along and find there's godmothers that bless children when they're born. There's some that curse children. And they actually find a godmother and talk to her to try to help them get to this other godmother who is the godmother for the royal family. And you're just following as she goes on this adventure, and a lot of traveling. There is, what is it called? It's like this fairy underground place, but it's like, Goblin Market. That's the word I'm looking for. And they have to go to the Goblin Market to find stuff that they need to end this domestic abuse of her sister and things like that. So it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So again, I gave this 4 stars, and this was 240 pages. I have quite a few tabs here. You can't really see them. And let me just tell you a few of these. If you had learned not to trust your own senses, you might wait too long to run from an enemy. And lots of people deserve to die. Not everybody deserves to be a killer. And the first one that comes to my mind that deserved to die was Hitler, but definitely him. Power calls to power. Ain't that the freaking truth? Corruption calls to corruption as well, in my mind. And that's not a line from the book. That's just what it thinks. The last one I'll tell you about says, I've done many things that were terribly important, lives hanging in the balance, and so on and so forth. There is something pleasant about chopping wood. If I miss a stroke, nothing awful happens. If a piece of wood is not quite right, it will still burn. If I stack it and it isn't perfect, clans will not fall. So I like that. Anyway, so those are the 3 books that I read. Now I'll tell you what these other prompts were. Prompt number 4 was a graphic novel. Number 5 was any book you want. Number 6 was fast-paced book. Number 7 is an audiobook. And number 8 was to join reading sprints, which I did on Saturday the 13th. And number 9 is to read a new release. So you can double up. Now, if I was going to double up, obviously I did not read a graphic novel, so I would not have gotten number 4. Any book you want. I really wanted to get to his hostage, so I could count that. And number 6 is something fast-paced. Again, his hostage would count for that. And number 7, an audiobook. I listened to the audiobook for Nettle and Bone, so that would have been done. And then a new release, there was no new release. So if I were to double up, there's only 2 prompts I would not have completed. So for this particular readathon, I read 655 pages. This took place over 3 days. So basically for the 3 days, each of those days, I read an average of 218 pages for these 3 books. So yeah, I had a great time. Are you a member of Lexi's Patreon, part of Foxenwood? Are you participating in the book club? Have you read any of these 3 books that I talked about? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, and I will link Lexi's YouTube channel in the description box. I'm sure most of you, if not all, probably already know about Lexi, but just in case you don't, I will have her channel linked in the description box. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.